Welcome to my second video in my video game series. In the first video I ranked my top 10 favorite NES games. This time I'm gonna rank my top 10 favorite SNES games. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power. Super power. First off, I'm gonna say that I like the SNES better than the NES console, even though I love the NES console. Another thing, I haven't played the RPG game Chrono Trigger, which is supposed to be one of the best, and I haven't actually played Super Metroid. So I would guess I've seen videos of them on YouTube being playing, looks really amazing. So, and known for some of the best, but I actually haven't played them. But anyways, as I scribble down, as always, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System SNES, also known as Super NES or Super Nintendo, is a 16-bit 4th generation home video game console developed by Nintendo that was first released on November 21, 1990 in Japan, where the system originally named the Super Famicom SFC. In South Korea it is known as the Super Comboy. The North American NTSS SNES console looks different from the European PAL SNES version. The PAL version though looks the same as the original Japanese Super Famicom version and the South Korean Super Comboy version, but are pretty much the same. You stick down the cassette through on top. In the North American NTSC version, as the console, the North American version looks a bit different than other versions, which all other version cassettes looks the same. The North American version, as the console, looks different, but you stick in the cassettes on top in every version. So the old versions has the two slots for the two controllers, the cords put in on the front side. All version controllers are the front side. All version controllers are exactly the exact same. Only really difference is the button colors on the North American version. Rest exactly the same on all controllers. Same shapes, same amount of buttons. A little nerdier stuff now. A little info about the importance of the controller in the development of video game controllers. The NES controller was a simple horizontal rectangular shaped controller that had the up, down, left, right button on the left. In the middle the select and start button, and on the right the B and A buttons. The SNES controller was much enhanced, a horizontal rectangular shaped controller, the up, down, left, right button on the left side, the select and start button in the middle, and expanded with two more buttons on the right side. It has the UBXA buttons plus two buttons on top of the controller. Today every controller pretty much looks the same. Starting with the PlayStation controller, they had two buttons on the left upper side, two buttons on the right upper side. And the movable joystick in PlayStation 2 stuff with handles also on the controllers as today, but this was an influential controller. It didn't have the handles, but it had the rounded shape to fit your palms and stuff. Very nice controller, I like it. It's not the PlayStation and onwards controller, not that advanced, but I like the controller. Pretty good. Not the best controller, but pretty good. Okay, so let's get down to the ranking. 10 Super Mario World 1990, the first Super Mario game that introduced Yoshi, the green dragon, as Mario can ride on. Developed as usual by Nintendo EAD. It's a platformer. This is like a more extended version of Super Mario Brothers 3 on the NES, which was my favorite NES game. This is, you can travel through worlds, different worlds, and do a lot of cheating stuff like in Super Mario Brothers 3. And this has a hidden world. It's such a great, phenomenal game, as most Super Mario Brothers games are. But I gonna say that I like Super Mario Brothers 3 more than Super Mario World. Mario World is known as one of the greatest SNES, SNES games, and one of the greatest games of all time. 9. Not so cool. Wine, but whatever. Long day putting together all this stuff. 9. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4. Turtles in Time, 1992. Original arcade game released in 1991 as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Developed by Konami. Side-scrolling beat-em-up. One of my favorites beat-em-up game. Pretty much like Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. The NES version that also came from which was also remade from the arcade version, ported to NES, as this is Turtles in Time is ported to SNES, Super Nintendo. So most will say this is the greatest Turtles game, beat 'em up game, and one of the greatest beat 'em up games of all time. Absolutely agree. To me, though, personally, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, the NES port is has more meaning to me. So, what is a greater game? Probably this, but I don't know which is my favorite of this. So, 8. Mega Man X 1993, first Mega Man game for this as SNES, a spin-off of the original Mega Man series that began on the NES. This also has quite a different story. It's not the same Mega Man. It's another robot, human, whatever Mega Man is. Developed by Capcom, as all earlier Mega Man games. Action platformer, science fiction themed, great game. And the one thing I would probably include a Mega Man game or two or in my NES ranking, the last video, but I can't really separate them. It's so long time since I played them and can't really remember. This Mega Man X game, though, I downloaded for free, which is not it's criminal, but I used a simulator and had the SNES controllers, and I also had NES controllers for NES games and played it on my laptop, but it doesn't look as good. The NES looks pretty much the same. The graphics are worse. NES looks much worse on the computer, but I had this since I was a kid anyways. So I played the on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System this game since I was a kid. Great game. I would go so far to say it's my probably my favorite Mega Man game. 6, The Legend of jumped over one. 7, Street Fighter 2, or in the original arcade version 1991. This is a port to the SNES and others in 1992. The original version called Street Fighter 2, The World Warrior. A follow-up to the Street Fighter arcade game released in 1987. Developed by Capcom. This was the first real fighting game, as what is gonna be known for and developed like the Tekken games and virtual fighting games, Mortal Kombat game. This is the first one. The 2 bars of a little more nerdier stuff. 2 bars energy bars upside as you hit the hero and the bar go down, and eventually the fighter is dead. Yeah, this was the absolute. I gotta say, I haven't played the arcade game. It looks much better, much better. But the SNES port is, I would say, probably the most famous one. It's extremely famous. First real fighting game, put the standards of and changed everything fighting games is gonna be after. Really, the absolute first real fighting game. No game before can compete with this. This is the first real fighting game. Amazing game. Amazing game. It also has many other versions like Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting. I never played those except on there was a PlayStation version. They put together many of these, but Street Fighter 2, number 7. 6, The Legend. It's a little stormy. 6, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, 1991. The 3rd Zelda game. Also, IGN's number 1 SNES game in their top 100 SNES games of all time. Yeah, IGN, I totally respect. It's the number 1 to go to look for rankings in video games. They're the best. So developed by Nintendo EAD. Is like the first Zelda game. The second one is different. I don't really like that at all from the NES version. Big mistake, I think that was. But action adventure kind of RPG like the first Zelda game. Top down game, you see upwards. It's not really RPG like the first Zelda game. Like the first Zelda game, many secrets, many secrets, many hidden stuff. This to me is better than Ocarina of Time from the N64, Nintendo 64, which is known as the best games of all time. Even IGN thought this is a better Zelda game than Ocarina of Time, which is known as the best Zelda game of all time. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Legend of Zelda series. It's absolutely the best video game series of all time. I think so. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past 1991 is a contender to be the greatest video game of all time. In everything, great music, great gameplay, everything is great in this game. Why it's number 6 for me though, because this is a personal list. It's not. If I would choose the best game of all time, this would be in the top 3-5 best games of all time. But this is a personal list how I like games and stuff, so that's why it's in number 6. Otherwise, it would be greatest game number 1 in the SNES console. 5 Super Punch-Out 1994. As you know, my top 7th favorite game on the NES, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. This is not the original game, not the original Super Punch-Out in the arcade machine. This is all other different versions. Developed by Nintendo R&D3, who developed Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I prefer this game over this, and it's known as one of the best Nintendo games, as Mega Man X also, I forgotten, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, known as one of the best SNES games, SNES games. Super Punch-Out is a very comedic, like boxing, sport, fighting game. It's I like it more than Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Great game, very funny game, very hard towards the end, but I beat this game. I played this before when I was a kid on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, later on emulators on computers. Street Fighter 2 also, I played on the original system when I was a kid, but later on emulators. And as the next one, I played as a kid a lot of times, but later on emulators. For Donkey Kong Country 1994, and you know the whole story, who created that, Shigeru Miyamoto, with Donkey Kong, the arcade game. Donkey Kong Country is a great platformer for the SNES. Great graphics, no, for groundbreaking graphics at the time. 16-bit graphics, this looks like better than 16-bit. So following Donkey Kong, and as they had here his nephew Diddy Kong, is great story. You compete the game from 1 to 100% to complete the whole game. So even if you have finished all games, it's other hidden stuff you have to do to get to 100% complete. Love that concept, love it. Followed on in the Crash Bandicoot series in PlayStation, took inspiration from this, much of the inspiration from this game. They also created a main villain here called King K. Rool, Evil Crocodile. Amazing last boss fight scenes. One of my favorite boss fights in all video game standing. Developed by Rare, one of my favorite video game developer. As I forget to say, as Konami and Capcom and Nintendo EID. Second paper. 3 Contra 3 The Alien Wars 1992. My god. My favorite run and gun game of all time. As the Contra series is known for the greatest run and gun games ever made. Developed by Konami. Third Contra game following Contra 1987, which was an arcade, and the Super C 1988. This is hands down the best Contra game. There's no question about it. For me, I think, and many others think so, as I've seen in many other rankings. What an amazing game this is. Holy shit. Some of the stuff they did, I'm gonna talk more about this in. They used the Mode 7, which is like fake 3D, and that it looks like 3D. And yeah, this has it. This has Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, 4 Turtles in Time. Looks great. The third level here in this game is Holy shit, how did it? It's absolutely extraordinary. One of my favorite. For its time, it was absolutely groundbreaking, amazing. So many bosses in the level too, until you get to the final boss. By the way, one of the hardest bosses of all time is the final boss in this game. Holy shit. Until you beat that, as I have with time. I never actually played this. I always wanted to play this on the original system, but I played it in emulators on my laptop with the USB port SNES controls later. And yeah, amazing game, amazing game. Absolutely extraordinary game. So, to Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, follow up to Super Mario World on this Contra 3, also known as one of the best games in Super Nintendo Entertainment games, as well as Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, known as one of the best games in the SNES console. Great graphics, almost childish looking sometimes, real original stuff. I remember how I longed for this game when it was new when I was a kid, and I got it on the original system. Absolutely loved it. Amazing game. You play as Yoshi, control Yoshi with baby Mario on his back. So this takes place long before Super Mario World and all other Super Mario games before. Have many great puzzles, really complicated, complex at times. Great platformer. One of the most beautiful, stunning graphics on the SNES system. Absolutely adore this game. Many hidden stuff too, like Mario games are known for. Great game. Shigeru Miyamoto created Donkey Kong Mario. Not gonna go all into this stuff again, but one though is can be quite of a surprise, but no, as a really good SNES game. It's X-Lay 1992. Scrolling shooter, a shoot 'em up game developed by Konami. And here we're gonna talk a bit about, so half of the game, as in Contra 3 The Alien Wars, are top-down vertical, and half of the levels, every next level, are side-scrolling horizontal. Great shmup game. Choosing new weapons on every level, and you have to choose and figure out how you're gonna use the level, and if you die, you die. You have to start all over again. You have a few lives, and with points you get more lives. Hard game, very hard game, complex game. But you have to learn the configuration of the enemies and all stuff, as in all shmup games, shoot 'em up games. Yeah, they use the Mode 7 graphical effects to produce an interesting perspective, like as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 Turtles in Time had. I guess Contra 3 The Alien Wars had some of it, and I actually forgot which other. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 Turtles in Time. This Mode 7, how it's used in X-Lay, is amazing. Really good use. This was the game when I was a kid. Rented it, I think, one time. Never left my mind ever. I dreamt so long to play this game again. And I had later a friend got me the NES controller USB to put in the laptop, and I downloaded this game. I think this was the first I downloaded. man, even though the graphics looks worse on a laptop, because you know, I wasn't disappointed. I played this game till I finished in easy, medium, hard, ultra hard, all the different the harder, and I played it every day, many times, till I finished on everyone, and still continue to play it. What an amazing shmup game. I think personally no others, it's hard to tell which is ranked as the best shmup game. There's no really definitive best shmup game at all, shoot 'em up game. This I would say is the greatest shmup game of all time. My favorite SNES game, no question about it. Although there are close contenders. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Contra 3, The Alien Wars. X-Lay, my favorite shmup game of all time. Shoot 'em up game, my favorite game on the SNES console. Absolutely amazing, absolutely extraordinary. One of my favorite games of all time. Next, I'm gonna rank the N64, the Nintendo 64 games. My top 10 favorite Nintendo 64 games. So, see you next time. Bye.